Hello, my dear friends. Today we will study Alexander's Feast, written by John Dryden. John Dryden, he born in Neoclassical age. Neoclassical, that was age. It starts in 1668 and it ends in 1798, and John Dryden was the most important, most famous poet of the neoclassical age. That's why before studying Alexander's Feast, we should know the age of the Dryden. It was the time of formality and artificiality in literature. That's why this is neoclassical age, or the uh, Dryden's age, is divided into three parts. First is Restoration, second is Augustan age, and third is Age of Johnson. In this era of writing, writers tried to imitate the style of Romance and Greeks. They were imitating the Greeks and Romans. That's why they called the neo-classical writers. Neo means new, and classical means classical days. And here classical means the days of Roman and Greek. That's why this age is also called as the era of enlightenment, means era of logic and reason. So preceded by the Renaissance, and it is followed by the Romantic era. Neoclassical period, it ended in 1798, but there are some features that are prevailed there. There were coffee houses. Coffee house culture was there to chat about the politics. So it was the time of British political upheaval. So people were very much interested in the politics of that time. Neoclassical literature, it is characterized by order and accuracy. Writers, they focused their uh, their literature on order, accuracy, and structure. That's why this is also called as age of logic, age of reason. They also emphasized on restraint, their self-control, and common sense. That's why this neoclassical age was not called for the common man. It was the age of elite. It was the literature that was written for the elite class only. Here in the neoclassical age, there were uh, five or six types of literature that was very famous. First was parody, second was essays, third was satire, fourth was letters, fifth was melodrama, next rhyming. So neoclassical writers, they were focusing more on the satire and essays. Neoclassical writers were mm, very much focusing on the melodrama, satire, essays, and literature of their period. In neoclassical writers, John Dryden is very much important. Next comes Alexander Pope, then Jonathan Swift, then Daniel Defoe, and then Samuel Johnson. In the in the part of political scenario, if we talk about, there were various reforms that has been taken place in the neoclassical age. Charles II, who personified as the fiction advocates of the age, he protested to support the Church of England. That's why the political era of this age is also important. The Bill of 1680s, and that is also called Bill of Exclusion, and 1700 Act of Settlement Bill, which is it is also important, which permanently prohibited a Catholic from taking the throne of England. So these type of political actions, political bills were there in neoclassical age. It is also called as the time of civil profitability and military unrest, because military rest was not there at that time. Political thrones were changing at that time. Commercial wars was there against Dutch and French and Australian, and some time with Spanish army. So it was a time of party politics. There were two parties. One was Tories that representing the all landed wealth conservatives, and on the another side it was House of Lords versus Whigs. These House of Lords, they representing the higher class, that is made in trade, city and expansionist. So this type of political parties were there in the neoclassical age. It was a test. It was a test for periodicals in the time of neoclassical age. People developed their taste for the periodicals, journals, and first time in middle class also they got the time for their leisure, and it was also called the rise of the newspapers. Although periodicals were there, but it was also rise of the newspapers. People return of public theaters. It was also the birth of the novel. It was also called the reading circles, books, book clubs, coffee houses were there. It is also uh, an age for debates. That's why it is also called as an age for wit, and it is also called as age of marketing, because commercialism and promotion of weak parties were there. So politeness, decorum and moral industrialization was there. It was age of decoration, because decorum means uh, poet and writers of this age, they gave focus on heroic couplet, rationality and order, accuracy and structure on the poem. So now we should move towards the text. It is Alexander's feast. As we all know, Alexander the Great, he was he was the great king, he was the emperor, he was bent upon winning the whole world. So clubbing of two pieces of time, it is called as the clubbing of two pieces of time. So Alexander Feast, or the full title of this poem is called The Power of the Music. So our poem starts. It was the royal feast for Persia, won by Philip's warlike son. Aloft in awful state, the god-like hero stayed on his imperial throne. His valiant peers were placed around, their brows with roses and with myrtles bound. So should desert in arm be crowned, the lovely Thais by his side, stayed like a blooming eastern bride, in flowers of youth and beauty's pride. Happy, happy, happy pair, none but the brave, none but the brave, none but the brave deserve the fair. So this is the first stanza. Is in this stanza, poet talks about the Alexander the Great. He was bent upon winning the whole world, as we all know. So he was clubbing the world in two pieces of time. He was ambitious. Alexander was so much ambitious that he was ambitious to winning the whole world. And he's talking about the Timotheus. Timotheus placed on high amid the tuneful choir, with flying fingers touched the lyre. The trembling notes ascend the sky and heavenly joys inspire. So here Timotheus was a great musician, and these two times have been clubbed when John Dryden and the poet, he want to us to know the powers of music. How powers of music? That setting is that Alexander is throwing a party and he is giving a great feast because he has recently won Persia. So, in the very first line, it was a royal feast for Persia won by Philip's warlike son. Here, Philip's warlike son is Alexander because Philip is the name of Alexander's father. So, great musician is playing great sort of music. For whom? For Alexander. All the great musicians are there in the feast. He, along with his band, is singing different song. Who? Who is singing? Who is singing? Timotheus is singing. Timotheus is singing with his great band of music. He is along with his band is singing different types of song. Different type of song. So this, as we all know, the title suggests that the Alexander feast or the power of the music. This poem is something about the effect of the music. So in these lines, this is the first stanza. Setting is that Alexander won the Persia and he is going to feast the party. He is going to feast the party for Persia. So many musicians are there and the great musician Timotheus is also there. So this poem is about the effect of the song. Actually, John Dryden, he tells us about to know the effect of the music. So he's experimenting. Who is experimenting? Timotheus is experimenting that effect of music on Alexander. Timotheus wants to know that if Alexander the Great can move from different sort of music, then we are the common human being. We are the common human being. Timotheus placed on high amid the tuneful choir, with flying fingers touch the lyre, the trembling notes ascend the sky and heavenly joy inspire. The song began from Jove, who left his blissful seat above. Such is the power of mighty love. So it was for the royal feast for the Persia one, and there is a great stage that is placed for Alexander. Alexander is sitting on the great stage because he is the emperor, because he is throwing a party. That's why he is sitting on the great place. He is celebrating. Alexander is celebrating his victory of Persia. That's why he is giving the feast. He has invited a lot of people. He has invited lot of people and lot of musicians, and also invited the great musician Timotheus, who is a great musician. So he is talking about the effect of music. Timothy is trying different sort of music to make happy Alexander. Here also Timotheus is experimenting with the effects of music on the mind of Alexander, because the Alexander the Great is that he was a royal. emperor. So here Philip's warlike son is Alexander's father. Warlike is used for the Alexander because he was very ambitious to win the world. So here in the first stanza of the poem, I think this is clear. Next part we will deal in the next video. Thank you, dear friends.